everyone. Okay, so obviously the first thing to bring up with this chapter is we finally meet Prince Loki. But even before the reveal of the guy, we get a lot of interesting background on his origins and even about Elbaf itself. First and foremost, being that Elbaf in itself is a nation without a king. As we learn, Loki killed his father to obtain the power of supposedly a legendary devil fruit that's been passed down to basically all the rulers of Elbaf. And it it took, and after Loki had killed his father and stolen the fruit, it took all of Elbaf in order to restrain him after the fact. Of course, this reveal of Loki also comes with a bit of an ominous warning that if Loki gets free, the world will be brought to ruin. So, yeah, this is definitely setting him up as the villain of this arc, obviously, but this is also where my worries come into play, because while I don't think Oda would intentionally make Luffy this stupid, I do have concerns something is going to happen where Luffy unintentionally sets Loki free. Like, the setup at the end of this chapter is just too perfect and feels like that's exactly where this is headed. Now, I don't want to is headed. Like, it just feels like that's kind of how this is going to go down. Now, I do want to take a moment to speculate on Loki's Devil Fruit, because the fact that it's classified as a fruit of legend among the giants of Elbaf tells me it's something in the same class as Luffy's Devil Fruit, an ability that belonged to someone considered to be a god of this world. And the fact that Loki even claims himself to be the sun god of Elbaf or something kind of reinforces that idea. Although, if this power he wields is as destructive as the giants claim, then I think he's actually the complete opposite of a sun god, at least by the definition of Nika. Like, it's probably like a if Luffy is like if Luffy does wield the power of Nika, the power of someone who did claim to be a did who was considered like the sun god of his time, the one who brought freedom and who brought freedom to all. I think this power Loki has is the complete opposite. Like, it's going to bring nothing but darkness, nothing but destruction. Like, it's going to cause a catastrophe on Elbaf for sure. Um, and yeah, and yeah. As a final note about Loki before I move on though to other things in the chapter, I gotta say, if this was the man Big Mom wanted Lola to marry, then yeah, Lola dodged a huge bullet on this one. Like, alliance with the Giants be damned. Like, the Loki, when it comes to Loki, like, this motherfucker is crazy. Although, now that we have gotten introduced to Loki, it will be interesting to see how that moment from Whole Cake Island of Lola rejecting Loki fits into the timeline of Loki's imprisonment. Because while I doubt we're gonna see anything in Loki's past that redeems his actions or his character in this arc, it would be an interesting layer if we found out that, much like Big Mom had forced Lola to marry Loki, maybe King Harald, Loki's father, in an attempt to prevent his wayward son from rebelling, had forced Loki to marry Lola, and using the arranged marriage as an excuse of dumping his problem child onto his quote-unquote problem child onto Big Mom. Like, the alliance itself really just being an afterthought to the king. Like, he just wanted his son to be out of his hair and prevent him from pulling any bullshit on him. Prevent him from pulling any bullshit. Now, and, but, okay, while we're on the topic of royal sons, though, Kashi drops a pretty big bombshell on us that Prince Harudin is in fact the son of a king as well. Now, he didn't mention if it was King Harald, who was Harudin's father, or another king before Harald, but yeah, apparently Harudin is of royal blood, and with the point made that Elbaf is a nation without a ruler, I do think this is Oda's way of pulling a slick move on us by saying, yeah, Harudin will take up the throne as king of Elbaf by the end of this arc, and in doing so, I think Luffy's gonna make an attempt in order to make Elbaf like a pretty much nation under his protection, like a protectorate nation. But the keyword being attempt, because the thing for me after reading this chapter as well is that I'm convinced that although Oda's setting things up for that for basically for Harudin to become king and for Elbaf in order to become an ally an allied nation to basically the Straw Hat crew. It also feels like Oda's. It also feels like Oda's setting up for Shanks to be a little bit of a wrinkle in this whole plan because it does. It. I don't know if it's been said outright as of late, but I do think this confirms that it is in fact a protect that that you know that LF is right currently a protectorate under under Shanks under the Red Hair Pirates crew, so under Shanks's protection. So they're gonna have to that might be Shanks's excuse in order to fight Luffy too, but. I can't say with certainty. I can only speculate on that one, but it would be kind of interesting if Shanks did use that as an excuse to kind of like for Luffy for his crew in the Strats to finally fight and for Shanks to kind of give Luffy his final test, so to speak, about if he's truly ready for what's to come. Um, but okay, I've been kind of skirting around it, but let's talk about the elephant in the room with this chapter, which is to say, early on in the chapter, we see the Straw Hats that weren't abducted by Road searching for their crewmates alongside Dory and Bragi. And in the commotion, a news crew delivers not only new wanted posters for the two giants, but also an article detailing Luffy's crimes of killing Dr. Vegapunk. But of course, the part to pay attention to with this scene is when you see the photo that was used for the article, where we see Luffy with the X mark on his arm. And we all basically know what this is. It's the X mark that basically that all the straw hats had had tattooed onto themselves during the whole during the whole Alabasta incident. Meaning, and yet so Vivi herself has one as well. And it's no secret what Oda is doing here by having the Straw Hats who didn't give their final silent goodbye to Vivi at the end of Alabasta being the ones to see this. It's a message from Vivi to basically Luffy and the Straw Hats. But the thing is, Luffy and the others are the only ones to see are really only going to see this after everything with Elbath is over. Now, the question is whether it's a message that Vivi's in danger or she wants to meet to tell them what happened at the Reverie, or at least everything she knows, because in the latter scenario, I think there's only one of two ways that conversation goes. Either she learned Cobra died off screen, or she'll learn about it from the Straw Hats when they meet back up, because I believe the Straw Hats did learn about Cobra's death through basically the article about Sabo. So now it's just about kind of meeting up with Vivi and kind of comparing notes of why the government killed Cobra, and I think and I'm not gonna lie, I am fascinated by the prospect of the Straw Hats meeting Morgans and how that'll play out. Like the character interactions between Morgans are bound to be hilariously fascinating to watch. Like Morgans is the kind of character who has the kind of energy who in order to match like the Straw Hats. So it's like, how's that interaction gonna go? It's gonna be fun to find out for sure. And of course meeting Wapol again, but I kind of have a vibe of how that one's gonna go. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll, push the notification bell with the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight signing off. Later, everyone.